Second story now focuses on the failure to diversify in the private equity area, specifically at TPG. And on tonight's episode of the David Rubenstein Show, we'll hear from Robert Smith. But before that, I want to talk about TPG. This is an extraordinary thing where there's a pension plan up in Oregon that had TPG in, and they really read in the Riot Act and recorded it and posted it.
Well, I have to say, this is one of the most interesting aspects of private equity. Just a little, if I may be a little meta for a second. We have to remember, we talk about sort of the billionaires and private equity and leverage buyouts and barbarians at the gate, but the money really starts with a lot of times the public pensions. And the public pensions who've made a lot of money from private equity over the last 30, 40 years, really going back to the late 70s, early 80s, they have started to get a lot more vocal, and they are feeling a lot of pressure from their own members and beneficiaries to start asking these questions. And so suddenly you have these managers inside the pension funds who feel emboldened to put these guys on the spot. And that's exactly what happened, where the chairman of this pension fund really took Jim Coulter to task over this.
Yeah, no question about it. There's an issue there, and it's a perfect coincidence of timing, because the David Rubenstein Show, actually he has on Robert Smith, who's a very prominent private equity person, and he talks specifically about diversity and his experience, his personal experience in the industry. Listen to what he had to say.
The guy said, you're a very smart guy. You just have your heritage to overcome in order to be successful in business. And, that kind of stuck with me at a time that, after all of this wonderful work that I'm doing, he still viewed me through that lens as opposed to the work that I had done.
So here's a very prominent African-American investor, a really successful man. He said, look, they said to me, it's a problem I have to overcome my heritage. They looked at me through that lens. I mean, it's pretty extraordinary. In this day and age, you would think we'd get past this. We haven't.
We haven't. And, private equity has long been a very clubby industry, to say the least. It's very small especially relative to the economic power that it has. These are firms that were small, privately held for a long time, small partnerships. They recruited from a very select number of places. They have diversified a bit, but they have a long way to go, and that was certainly the message that came through from TPG. But when you hear something like that from Robert Smith, it does make you sort of sit up and wonder how far, as you say, we have to go.
And you can watch that full interview in the new season of the David Rubenstein Show, peer-to-peer conversations. That's tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.